we really treat each team the same. Just because one team's higher than another doesn't mean anything to us. We still haven't won our first Sun Belt game, so this game is bigger than App State was last week.
I mean, obviously right now we're sitting at 1-6, so there's no room to lag on anybody. We need everything we can get, basically.
Are there any positives you guys could have taken out of that App State game? Played close, you had the lead. I mean, that's a really good program in the Sun Belt. What positives did you guys take going into this week?
Going into this week, we know we can run. We know we can throw. That's always a good thing when the offense is gelling. And right now we feel like the offense is gelling, and we're going to be very productive this week. That is the main goal.
The positives we took out of this game, I feel like we kind of got that swagger back. You know, the sideline was having fun. You know, we're not really used to these type of losses and stuff here, so just kind of having fun with the game again was real good for the team. I think it brought our spirits up and it'll prepare us well for this week.
You mentioned Texas State being 1-6. Kind of what are you guys seeing from them on film so far this week?
From an offensive standpoint, their defensive coordinators from Gardner Webb, and they play pretty much a three-man down front, and we feel like we are able to run the ball on them, and we just got to take each play at a time and make sure that we pick up on the blitzes because they love the blitz, and stay focused on our keys and make sure we get the ball in the end zone as many times as we can.
For the defense, they kind of do a little bit of everything as far as like zone and passing, trying to spread you out sometimes. So it's really kind of going to be a mixture of what we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks. In this league, a lot of the teams run kind of very similar offenses, so it won't be nothing that we haven't seen before.
The feeling of getting back home as well, too. It's been a couple weeks since you guys have been here. Obviously, everyone's hoping to get a double here, break this losing streak. What's it going to be like to be back on the surf turf and play a team that's got the same record as you, but I know you guys are amped up to get back here, right?
It's homecoming. You know, we're very excited, ready to see all the old heads come back. You know, it's nice to have support from previous members on the football team and to let them know that this legacy that they built is still something that we cherish and we want to keep building on. So, you know, we're ready. We're ready for Shot Nation to be out there and got to get this W.
It definitely feels good to be home. You know, to break this thing at home, I think would be the best feeling, you know, because I miss that feeling, you know, turning up, having a good time with the guys, and I think we overdue. It's time to get that last inch, separate them mental errors, and get this win.
That's kind of thing. I mean, you guys are on the verge. I mean, you've played a couple close games now. Do you think like you guys have the pieces all together? Do you think you can put it together and get a W this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like honestly, you know, from moving from FCS to FBS, the only true difference is that margin of error. So, like, you got to play 4 full quarters. You don't have time to wait a half or, you know, mistake here, mistake there. Everything counts at this level, and you have to make those plays. You know, we can't have those errors anymore.
Speaking for the offense, what do you think has been the difference? What changes have been made or that's allowed the offense to, you know, throw for as many yards as it has and kind of be a lot more balanced in the last maybe 3 weeks?
Well, as an offensive line standpoint, we know we have talent as far as wide receivers and everything, and we want to make sure. Well, we put in a lot of focus last week on making sure that we're going to pick up on the corner blitzes that App State brings. We're going to be a little bit more aggressive as far as protecting, and we know we got mad crazy talent out there, and we just want to get them guys the chance and the opportunity to show that they can shine and be productive because we need them. So.
Do you guys feel like you could have a big game on the defensive side of the ball? I think they're only averaging like 13, maybe 14 points a game. Do you think this is a game where your defense can really shine and really show what you guys are made of?
Definitely. I feel like the defense has always been doing well. It's just like I've said earlier, like it's just those little mental errors that, like eliminating those big plays and stuff. Like run stop defense and all that stuff would be like ridiculous. But we just gotta haul in, you know, do every individual guy got to do his job, and we'll definitely run them out of the stadium. I believe it starts with the first play, you know, whether it's kickoff return, you know, just showing that we're ready to play and going, not being lax, not waiting till we get hit to start playing, like just off the beginning, punch them in their mouth. You know, just get it going, have fun, you know, get this stadium live, and it's gonna ride the wave.
Appreciate you guys being here. Homecoming's obviously a special time for a college and alumni. You know, people have the chance to come back and see a lot of friends and relive a lot of memories. But what we told the team, and we'll tell the team, is they'll come back, and this might be the first opportunity they get a chance to see our football team this year. They're going to judge us obviously by your record, but what do we want our team, what do we want our fans, our alumni to know about us? And that hopefully is the way we play, the way we're competing. And so this is a big deal. Obviously playing Texas State, who's a hungry team. They're like us. We're both bottom of the barrel right now in our league, both searching for a win. Both have had chances to get wins and not been able to pull it out. So it's going to be a challenging game, and hopefully with us we'll continue to play with the same type of intensity and effort that we did last week. That's been our challenge. It can't be based off of who you're playing or the situation you're playing in. It's got to be that's what you're about all week and that's all year. And that's what is our big emphasis this week is we're preparing for Texas State.
Coach, it looks like you've kind of been trying to find a starting quarterback all year, and it seems like Tyler keeps fending off all challengers. I mean, what are your thoughts on his resiliency, I guess, where he knows that, you know, you guys are looking for an answer, but he seems to put up enough of a performance every week that he keeps being the guy.
Well, I think one, it just talks about the type of character he is, what he has. He believes in himself. You know, I could tell Tyler, hey, I'm moving you to 15, and he'd just say, yes, sir. You know, he trusts whatever the coaches believe. And, you know, what we're trying to do is obviously gives the best chance to move the football running and throwing. But Tyler's been making, you know, this consistent plays for the most part for us and gives us a chance in the games. And that's why he's there, because I trust him, you know, and we're bringing a couple other guys along, but especially in the situation last week, the game and the environment, you needed somebody that was steady, and that's why my plan was all week we had repped Kilton to play some in the game as well. He got reps all week, and my plan was to put him in early, but felt like especially jumping down early, being down 14-0, and maybe looking like the game was going out of hand. I needed a steady hand out there, and Tyler obviously brought us back, and I thought played a pretty good ball game overall. There was a couple mistakes, but you know, and I think that just shows you if you believe in yourself and you learn what you need to do system-wise, that you can you don't have to have the most talent or most height, most God-given abilities if you use what you gave you, and that's what Tyler's doing right now.
Kind of going back to your opening statement, you kind of just addressed it, but obviously Texas State, at least on paper, doesn't have the firepower, maybe the offense that App State does. How do you kind of focus on Texas State and not look past maybe their record?
Well, when you're 1-6, I don't think you can look past anybody. Obviously, that's the main thing. But two, it's more so, you know, we played well in a lot of ways last week for 50 minutes, 48, whatever it may be, but not enough, you know, not 60. And so more so for us, finding a way to figure out how to play for 60 minutes, no matter who our opponent is. They're obviously not as good as an Appalachian State, but, you know, they had the ball at the 1-yard line to tie them at the end of the game when they played. So they've got some talent. And we're not at the point where we can overlook anybody. And so we've got to make sure that we're focused on the things we need to do to get better. And the main thing we've talked about is playing with that same type of urgency. I thought our guys, I mentioned maybe that was the first time all year I felt like we played with just urgency for all 4 quarters, played for each other all 4 quarters. And we didn't look at the scoreboard or think, well, we're not going to win. Our guys kept battling. And if we'll continue to do that, then I think we'll make great progress this week.
With the 1-6 record, I mean, do you still see you guys battling in practice, battling in the games? Like, I'm sure not looking at the record. They just want to continue to improve each week, right?
Yeah, they have. You know, I know there's some disappointment. We obviously don't talk about it. We talk about trying to get better each week, and I think that's the same whether you're 1-6 or 6-1. It's more about what you're doing this week. That's the thing about sports is you always got something else coming, and so we really try to focus on every week. Try to focus on the positives that we're doing. There's obviously mistakes that we have to correct. Sometimes we have, sometimes we've not. But really try to focus on the positive and continue building. I think anytime you struggle through a season, you know, you can look at a lot of the negatives, but we've been trying to continue to build the program and build off the things that we're doing well. And there's some things we're doing well. We're just not doing it enough.
Kind of going back and looking back at the numbers, kind of You're 12th in scoring offense, but second in scoring defense. Kind of what does that say about their club?
Well, I think they've got a pretty good defense. They're holding the guys down, obviously. The offense has struggled to score. They've gotten off to some good starts, but they've just not been able to be consistent through 4 quarters. But their defense has been able to keep them in some football games, and so I think that's just going to be the challenge. I hope that we can continue to defensively, hopefully create some turnovers against them. Hopefully not allow them to get off to a good start. But offensively, we got to continue to try to get off to better starts. We can't let it start being a slugfest, because then that's what they're used to playing in. We need to try to get a lead, and I think if we can get a lead, it'll take them out of what they're trying to do, and that's when they're not as successful. But we know challenge-wise, are they as talented maybe as App State on defense, all 11? No, but they're just as good in the way they do things, very similar defense. So we need to get off to a good start and try to get a lead and make them play from catch behind instead of the other way around.
Do you think this is a good opportunity for your defense to really shine, since they're only averaging about 2 touchdowns a game? Do you think this is a game where your defense can really come out and just make things happen and maybe make a statement early on and kind of carry that momentum?
Well, I think every game's the defense has that opportunity to do that. We've got good players over there. Sometimes we do a lot of it. Sometimes, there's the other team makes plays, but we have confidence our defense is going to come out and play well and do well. And I think we've done that a lot of times throughout the year. We just maybe hit certain times when we don't do it for a quarter or don't do it for a couple drives. But I think our defense will come out and play. I think they're hungry. They know they've played well in a lot of ways. They just got to continue to play for 4 quarters, and I know they want to do that. So I expect a good performance this Saturday.
If you were, say, a defensive coordinator for an opposing team that was playing you guys, would you find it difficult to focus on one receiver to stop in this offense when you look at every game? It seems to be a different guy that's having a career day.
We do have, I think we got some guys that you can spread the ball around. I do think that makes it tough on defensive coaches to determine, hey, where are we going to roll our coverage? Who are we going to roll our coverage to? Last week, there in the 3rd quarter, they started rolling it more towards Chris Jones a little bit, and we were able to get Malcolm and some of those other people going. Hopefully they'll continue to have some troubles, and we'll figure out how to get them the ball a bunch. But those guys are all good. Even Omar, Omar's had a good year so far for us. So it's a blessing to have those guys and try to get them involved in the offense. It's hard because you guys try to get a lot of guys to football as far as for your game plan for us offensively, but also it does make the defense guys have to figure out, who you're trying to get the ball to as well. So that's a positive for us.
Do you think, when you believe you have a bunch of explosive players or dangerous players at wide receiver, is that one of the strengths of your offense?
Yeah, I think they're overall guys that can make the most plays for us right now. I think if we want to create some big chunk plays, we got to do it that can change the game. It's got to be through one of those receivers, whether it's handing the ball off to them or it's throw it to them. Those are the guys that can really make some plays with their speed and athleticism, and that's where we are right now. So that's why we try to get them the ball in the run game and do stuff. Hopefully, and catch a seam and make something happen.
Evans, special teams player of the week for the conference. Obviously, a career-long punt. Kind of what can you say about his afternoon and his afternoon?
Yeah, he had a really nice one. Obviously, the 3 field goals were huge. We've had some issues with our field goals in the past, and he came out and knocked them all 3 and thought he did a nice job there. The punting was big. He pinned them back. I think he averaged 54 yards a punt, longest punt. I think he had the longest punt in Coastal history, 65 yards. He had a nice game. I don't know if it was the mountain air or what, but if he can continue to kick like that, I think that gives us a good chance going forward to have a lot of success, because when we do punt and you're able to pin people back like that, it gives your defense a lot of confidence.
Anything else? What will it take for you guys to beat Texas State coming up this weekend on an offensive and defensive standpoint, and what you've seen as coaches? What will it take to get win number 2?
Well, first of all, we got to have the same team show up that showed up last week, as far as their urgency, their interest level, their commitment to each other. Our whole same team has to show up. We can't go backwards. We got to continue to go forward first and foremost. Secondly, we've got to offensively, we've got to finish drives in the red zone. We can't settle for field goals, and we can't turn the ball over, especially back on our side of the field when we put our defense in bad position. And then defensively, we've got to make sure whatever we give up on them, they have to earn it. We can't give them a busted coverage or a busted alignment and they get 70, 80 yards. They do have some skill kids that can run. We can't make them just give them up free touchdowns. We got to make them earn it. So if they drive 90 on us, then they drive 90 on us. But we don't want them to have an 80-yard touchdown because we don't cover the guy or we miss a line. That's the main thing. If we'll do that, we'll be fine.
And I think you touched on it already, but just homecoming festivities and just how much campus is going to be buzzing this weekend with the game and everyone that's going to be back here to kind of celebrate and I guess have a reunion and things.
Yeah, I always think that's a great thing about homecoming. I'm sure there's a lot of, this is obviously the first one for me, so I'm sure there's a lot of things going on. You hope your team, you want them to enjoy some of those things that are going on, but you also want them to remember what's the key deal, and that's the game. Everybody comes back to see friends. It's really to come to a football game on Saturday and want to see us play well. And so we got to make sure that we're putting our focus where it needs to be as far as preparing for the game and enjoy those other things later.
We had touched on, you said put some more starters in the special teams packages. Have you seen results? Were you happy with special teams last week?
I thought we played pretty well. We kicked the ball really well, so we had a lot of touchbacks on our kickoff team, which was nice. We had a decent return on our kickoff return. It gave us a jump start there in the fourth quarter. I thought our punt team did pretty well, and we had a decent return there in our punt return. So I thought it was probably our best overall game as far as the units. There were some things that we needed to do better, but we didn't let that. Special teams was not the reason why we lost the football game. And in a lot of cases, it gave us a chance to win the game, which was a positive. So we got better there. The challenge is we got to do that each week. We've just been a little inconsistent with it, but we were better last week.